Lads, lassies, welcome back to the YouTube, and today we're going to learn the 4 easiest grabs that you could possibly learn on a wakeboard. So the 4 easiest grabs in order, and this is my opinion but also my experience over years and years of coaching all these tricks to other people. The easiest is an indy grab. The second is probably a staylefish grab. Number 3, that is going to be a tail grab, and you can make that look really cool. And then the hardest is a nose grab, which we'll get to at the end of the video. Let's start with the indy grab. To begin with, most grabs are actually easiest learnt on a heel side jump. So don't try this toe side initially, always begin with heel side jump. And I'm also working under the assumption that you have an absolutely perfect way to wake. And if you don't, then here's a tutorial on how to master that. Now once you have that wake to wake, everything's the same. The approach, the progressive edge, where you take off on the wake, it's all identical. It only changes once you're up in the air. The first thing is you want to get in the air still with 2 hands on. Once you know I've got a stable takeoff, I'm not going to lose my balance. At that point, you can begin to take your back hand off. Then the first thing you actually want to do for the first few jumps is just touch your knee or maybe your shin. But as you progress, the idea is you want to pull both knees up at the same time, and you want to try and grab between your board. Now, the number 1 mistake people make is they go looking for the grab. Ideally, you want to feel it, because if you look down, you'll go down. So try and feel down for it by bending up your knees, touch the board. If you can get a good grab on it, happy days. And then you want to slowly come back out of it so you're able to bend your knees and absorb the landing. And that's all there is to an indy grab. Number 2, it is the staylefish. At this point, I think it's only fair to show you how cool my boat is. She's no centurion, but you've got to improvise and overcome. Now back to the staylefish. So again, we're assuming you've got a perfect way to wake. Then as you come in, same thing, pop up, 2 hands on the handle, make sure you're stable. Once you're in the air, instead of reaching forward, you want to actually instead bring the board up in front of you. A good thing to practice this is actually to just do some regular wake to wakes and do a shifty, which is where you just put your board in front of you. Then slowly you want to try and bend the knees. A good tip here is I actually find it easier to bend my front knee a little bit more than my back knee. That will suck the board up, and then it's just important that you keep your eyes on the prize. Always be looking forward at that boat, and then as you come out, just bend the knees, keep the head up, and ride away. Now, the tail grab. This is my favourite grab of all. You can make it look good, it feels good, and it looks good. The tail grab. How is it done? Well, first of all, again, I'm not going to repeat myself. Assuming you've got perfect wake to wake, you want to approach, progressive edge, take off top of the wake, get in the air, make sure you're stable with 2 hands. Then when you're up, this is where you want to start the grab. And the real interesting thing about this is I actually never bend my front leg. It not only gets you a little bit more stall points, but actually it's a whole lot easier. So you basically want to suck your back knee, in my scenario, my left knee, right up to my chest. That brings the board up there. You grab it, and if you want, you get real stylish, you can kind of poke it forward, but you don't have to do that initially, and then you want to put it down. The real secret with this is those 2 things. 1, only bend your back leg. It's going to make it a lot easier. And 2, just make sure to keep your head up. Everyone, including myself, when you're going for a grab, tends to look down to it just because it makes sense to do that, but it will throw you off a little bit of balance, so try not to do that where possible. And last but not least is the nose grab. And the reason it's called nose grab in wakeboarding is because it will break your nose. That's not at all true. It probably was invented in skateboarding or in snowboarding. But anyway, the reason I say it'll break your nose is there is a high probability that you will catch a front edge on this. So actually, I think an essential trick to be able to do before this is actually a nice heel side 180. It will help with the control. Again, come into the wake, take off top of the wake, get in the air, make sure you're stable. It's really important you make sure you're stable. Then when you're stable, you want to suck your front knee up. Again, leave that back leg straight. It's going to help bring it up. Get the grab. But what you're going to notice at this point is the boat is going to want to open you up. So a big tip I have is when you're doing that wake to wake, really make sure your arms are nice and close. And whatever you do, don't look down to that board because it's going to begin to spin. If anything, look that side of the boat, the opposite side, and that should hopefully help you put it down. I also would advise for the first few to kind of pull your knee up, get the grab, and then put your front hand back on the handle, as it will help you completely avoid death. So now you know how to do the 4 easiest grabs. Definitely, in my opinion, indy's the first one you should learn. Then you could learn tail grab ahead of staylefish, but that's up to you. But nose grab, it is hard. So with all these tricks, just make sure you're at an ability to try them. Don't push yourself too far past what you're comfortable. Obviously you do need to do that to progress, but if you can't wake to wake, don't be trying this stuff. And hopefully this video helps. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments below, and please subscribe if you can. And we'll see you in the next one.